Hello viewers and welcome to my channel. I am Mike, and in today's video I'll be identifying two major reasons why motorists tend to get rid of their headlights. Also in this video I'll be sharing with you what you can do to actually prevent yourself from incurring expensive replacement costs. So please stay tuned to get this very important bit of information that could actually save you hundreds if not thousands of dollars. Remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your support, much appreciated. Today I'm going to show you two major reasons why motorists get rid of their headlights, and in both instances it's totally unnecessary to replace the headlights. The headlights can be restored, they can be repaired to look like brand new, and especially when it comes to the original OEM part, which oftentimes is extremely durable and sturdy. To me it makes sense to restore, to repair, rather than to replace, especially if the motorist is going to use aftermarket parts. So the first reason is cloudy oxidized headlight. This headlight, if you have watched any of my previous videos, you would have seen it. Got this from a junkyard a couple months ago, and at the time when I got this headlight, it was totally oxidized. This is a portion that I left untouched. However, I had restored most of it, and this is what it actually looked like after restoring. So I have videos that shows how effective headlight restoration can be. So motorists can consider restoring the headlights instead of replacing the headlights, because as you know, headlights can be very expensive. So one reason, cloudy oxidized headlights. The second reason is broken parts on headlights. Now if you look carefully, you will see that this section here is broken. Not sure what caused it. Probably the vehicle was in an accident. Probably the headlight was being removed and it got damaged during the process. So we can see that this section here is broken, and I suspect that it would affect the alignment of the headlight on the motor vehicle. So the owner of this headlight decided to replace instead of repair. So at the end of this video, my intention is to repair this damaged section here and to fully restore the headlight so that all oxidation will be removed, and to show you just how well an old oxidized headlight can look once it is done properly. So stay tuned and keep on watching. For the headlight restoration process, I'm going to start off with the sanding this 800, which will be followed by 1500 grit, and I'll finish off with 3000 grit. After finishing, I'm going to be using my trim rubbing compound, after which I'll finish off with Maguire's polishing compound. And what's optional, to protect the restoration, I have the option of using UpkeepSeal that will offer some level of protection to the headlight from the exposure to the environment, to the UV rays and so on. I'm going to be using my DeWalt cordless drill, and I'm going to also be using my Black & Decker. This is optional. I use this because I get a much higher RPM than the DeWalt, and I have my compounding pad. This is a wool pad, and then this is my finishing pad for the polishing. So for the restoration, these are the items that I'll be using. As it relates to the plastic repair, I'll be using this hair dryer. I'll be using epoxy. We have the resin and we have the hardener. I have this sheet of cardboard type material that the mixture will go on. I'll use this popsicle stick to mix and combine both resin. I'll be using a 320 grit sandpaper to scuff the plastic to allow for better adhesion of the resin. So these are the materials that I'll be using and the equipment that I'll be using for the plastic repair. Okay, so we have many persons who are non-professionals, you might have a cloudy headlight. So what I'm going to do is a very simple and basic procedure first, and then I'll use the more professional method. So for DIYers, all you have to do is to get a microfiber towel, and you can get your spray bottle, right, with water. You spray down, and first thing you do is to wipe off the headlight, right? Remove any dirt, any gritty material that might be on the surface of the headlight. Then the next procedure, you get your compound. Doesn't have to be 3M, Maguire's, whatever it is that you have. You put a little rubbing compound on the microfiber, and then by hand you begin to compound the headlight, and this will remove some amount of oxidation. Depending on the state of the headlight, it can restore the headlight to look fairly decent, if not near perfection, as I said, depending on the state that the headlight was in before. So there you can see the oxidation that was removed. So for persons who have cloudy headlights at home, simply get some rubbing compound, get your microfiber towel, and you simply buff away, and it will remove most of your oxidation. I'm now going to use a drill, and I'm going to start off with my 800 sanding this. Going to spray a little water on this, a little water on the headlight, and then I'll begin sanding away. If you look carefully, you can see the remainder of the oxidation that was left even after I use the compound by hand. And this is why this method is way more effective than simply compounding and polishing by hand. So I'll continue. Next, use the 1500 grit sanding disc. We're going to repeat the process all over again. We wet the sandpaper with the headlight, and then we start sanding. And finally, I am switching to my 3000 grit, sanding this, and we repeat the process all over again. We wet the sandpaper with the headlight, then we start our sanding. Now that we have completed our sanding, we are now going to compound the headlight. So this is the pad, wool pad, that I'll be using, and I'll be using the wool pad along with my 3M rubbing compound. So a couple drops, spread it along the headlight. And then I start. I'm going to stop here for a minute, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch from the DeWalt cordless to the Black & Decker corded drill. It has a higher RPM, and therefore to me it gives me a better finish and a faster finish, faster cut compared to using the cordless. After I finish compounding, I'm now going to switch to my polishing pad. Now that we have completed the headlight restoration itself, we are now going to attempt to repair this damage. Right? I'm going to use the 320 grit sandpaper to scuff the plastic to ensure that the epoxy that we're going to be using will have a nice surface pull and to ensure that the repair is a solid one. So this is what it looks like now, and next we need to clean the area and prepare it for the epoxy. So what I'm doing is spraying some water onto the cloth and wipe away the area to ensure that it is clean. Now that the area is scuffed, clean and dry, now it's time to use the hair dryer. And what I'm going to do is to heat the plastic to make it pliable, and once it's pliable and soft, I'll be able to push down to get the parts realigned. And once I'm able to do that, then I will mix and apply the epoxy. So the reason why I'm using a hair dryer is because I don't have a heat gun at this time. So this will have to substitute. It will produce some amount of heat, soften the material enough so we can get it realigned. So there it is now. We have realigned the parts, and now all we need to do is just to prepare the 2-part epoxy and apply, and then we'll leave it to dry, and we will have a properly sealed and solid repair. Alright, so just about now I'm going to prepare the epoxy, and I'm going to now put the hardener, and I'm going to use a little bit more hardener. The time is very cold now, so I'm going to put a little bit more hardener to speed up the drying process, and then once we finish mixing, we will apply to the headlight. Alright, so the whole idea is to mix until we have a uniform mixture, just one solid color, and then we know that it's ready to be applied. Now that the epoxy has been applied, we're going to leave the headlight for a couple of hours for it to dry. The epoxy is now dried. It was actually left for a couple of days, so it's fully cured, and the repair has been completed. So it's now totally waterproof. No water can get inside. The epoxy has bonded very well to the plastic, as you can see. So it's a very strong and sturdy repair. I'm pulling on this shoelace, and I actually can hold by the shoe's lace, and the repair will not become undone. So this demonstrates that epoxy can be very effective in carrying out certain repairs to plastic, right? Especially plastic headlight assembly. So the repair is now complete. The headlight has been restored. The broken crack has been repaired, and this headlight can once again be placed on a motor vehicle. Thank you for watching my video, and until we meet again, please be safe.